So I'm working on what I want to create, which poses its own difficulties. My brain's been so busy trying to figure it out and figure out what you ask. So my experience of burnout as a registered nurse has kind of led me into seeing the gap that existed when I was trying to find some help and support, and I felt kind of like I fell through the cracks. And would I have ended up where I was right now if things looked a little bit different? So when you start to see a gap, that's when people start saying like, oh, I wish this would have been here. I wish this was here. And there's two things that you can do then. You can just keep on saying, I wish this was here. Or you can say, how can I help? How can I create something where I felt that gap was? Which is starting to take in, starting to bring in what does exist. How do I access these services? How do I learn it all at once and become what I want to provide to the world? This has kind of led to the concept of finding like my purpose and re-sparking my passion. And as a nurse, as a caregiver, I got into nursing because I like caring for people. I obviously am drawn to help. But at some point, when did it shift in my head from I'm not helping people the way I want to anymore to it's feeling exhausting, it's feeling draining? So you start exhibiting compassion fatigue, where something's not aligning or it's taking more out of you than you're replenishing. It brings in the concept to me of that importance of self-care. And we talk about it, but I don't think we realize the actual importance of it. So part of my job is going to be teaching and reminding people about what self-care looks like. And each of us has a different thing that's going to work, right? What works for me exactly isn't going to work for other people's the same way. But it's about a starting point. It's about a jumping point of like, oh man, how do you pool in these resources to figure out how to support yourself and prevent burnout? I don't want other nurses, other care providers to have to go through this same thing. So if I can even prevent in a little way, isn't that beautiful? So I've been getting in my head a lot, and I know through my education, my learning, I know these are just like a self-defeating behavior. And we all have these. We have these doubts that pop up in our minds, and maybe that it all stems from maybe feeling rejected. If you put yourself out there, what are other people going to think? I'm going to feel judged. I'm going to feel silly. But if I don't do this, if I feel like this is something I have to offer, whether I can help one person, 10 people, thousands of people, if I don't do it, even for that one person, then that to me is what the failure is going to be. So I got to put myself out there and keep trying to create. I got to convince myself that I can do this and take all the things that are busy in my mind and try to focus them to create what I want to do for others. So I've been taking a holistic nursing, little bit of reading education kind of course, and I'm going to focus in on becoming a nurse coach. My big statement is I want to help nurses, I want to help care providers with compassion fatigue and refinding your purpose, reminding ourselves why we are caregivers and the important role that is. We want to show up to love our job, and we want to be excited about our job. And when we're starting to have difficulty in doing that, we start building that compassion fatigue. And it doesn't just affect work life. It starts spiraling into other things. When you start experiencing burnout, it affects you not only like mentally at work, it goes into what you're giving as far as care. It goes into how you're presenting yourself in your work, what you're talking about at the nursing station, or how you're talking to families. They can tell, and people know when people are getting tired and burnt out, and then that affects the entire like unit of care of how we're talking in the break rooms, and how exhausted are we. And so again, what are we doing to refill our cup? Are we speaking with integrity in what we do? Are we being true to our own values and what we want to represent in the care that we provide? So when, again, burnout and stuff starts to come, it's not just showing up in work. It will start to show up in our physical symptoms, our being tired, being exhausted, maybe as anxiety, maybe as just restless energy, sometimes GI symptoms of anxiety. And then it spirals into the home life too. Why does home all of a sudden feel overwhelmed too? And maybe you're having headbutting with your kids or your partner, whatever it is, because when one aspect feels out of a line and it's circling like this, if we can't get it in check, it's going to continue to swallow these other areas unless we put in some changing patterns of how we can do this differently. And I believe that like that self-care, that self-awareness, that self-reflection is where this all comes in. So this is my goal going forward, is I want to create change, I want to create impact, and I want to help people. I want to help people move forward. If you're feeling stuck in a rut and losing your passion and telling yourself I can't do this and making excuses and I don't have the time and all that, and how can mindset and self-care come in here? So stay tuned. I'm going to keep working to create something that I love, and that if I quit and I don't give it, then it would be a disservice to the people who might really need or love or want to hear what I have to say and about my experience.